This is Brian Tarian with 7 tips that will help you maximize your medical exam with Social Security disability, or if you're going for a long-term disability interview, these principles would apply as well. What happens at these exams and how you handle it is a critical piece to getting approved for disability, and I speak to those that are going through the disability approval process that have a medical exam. But if you're on Social Security disability and you go through a review, you may also be subject to one of these, so you're not off the hook. Unfortunately, in my experience, what happens at these exams is not commonly what should happen, or what happens at the exam is not properly reported. And so these tips have helped members establish credibility for their conditions and have the examination properly conducted so that they can prove that they are eligible for their disability benefits. All right, so let's get into it here. The first one is doctor accountability. And this is the most important. And the goal here is to make sure that the doctor does what they should do, not what they want to do. And what's reported to Social Security is consistent with what went down in the exam. That's the most important piece of this whole process. So one key step to doing that is not going to the exam alone. Bring an advocate, a loved one, a spouse. Have the advocate take notes, write down each move that the doctor makes. If you can record it, and in many states it's totally legal to do that without asking, or you can ask. And you can simply record it with an iPhone and record the whole event, and that one step right there is going to hold the doctor accountable, because they have a set of standards that they are expected to adhere to, and without an advocate there or a recording, it's your word against theirs, and ultimately this information could end up in court. So you want to make sure that that is put in place. So also understand the parameters for the exam. This is not your regular doctor's appointment. The focus of this is for this doctor to confirm that your conditions that you have are consistent with your medical records. So this page is the federal regulation for Social Security that explains the guidelines for the examinations, how long they should be. They're different for medical than they are for psychiatric exams, etc. But if your exam is supposed to be 30 minutes and it's only 5, then, and it's properly recorded and documented, then, that's not right. So that's why you want to have all this put in place and understand the rules of the game. Number 2, don't overdress. It's not an interview. Comfortable, casual. And number 3 is be on time. I'll show you. This is an actual independent medical exam notice. There's 2 things here. It says, do not bring any children under 18 to this appointment. Don't bring any pets unless they're therapy. This one is really got some intense language in it. But they did provide a map for this. But down here it says, the doctor may not see you if you are late. Please be sure that you are on time. Okay, so there's a map for that one. It's not common that I see maps. So be on time. Don't change your treatment regime or stop making your meds so that, or taking your meds so that, you are reflecting more discomfort than ever. Just be consistent with what your treatment regime is. Medical records. This is another key step. If you can bring your medical records, like the last 24 months, at least from your primary care, so that the doctor who likely does not have your medical records can then say, you can give them, the big picture, because if they don't have the medical records and you are, going into the exam and you've got an autoimmune condition like fibromyalgia, and that's what they're examining you for, but you also have other issues with like your neck and your back, and they only see one of the three, then they haven't looked at your medical records, they wouldn't know. So if you can bring in your medical records and say, Doc, I brought all my medical records today so that you can see the picture of everything that's going on with me when you do your exam, and I have them here on this thumb drive, or you have a paper copy of them for you for your convenience. That is really a key thing to do. What to say? You'll likely be asked about your limitations, and there's two key things here that you want to communicate. Certainly if they're truthful, is that you like to work, you want to work, and your conditions prevent you from being able to work. You can mention your work history. I was on the same job for 15 years and I loved it, but it just got to the point where I'm just not able to work anymore, and so I had to stop. That's one piece. The second piece is understand how to communicate you're disabled in 2 sentences or less. I'm not going to get into detail with you here because there's a separate video right here to do that. Make sure that you nail this, because it's not about the conditions that you have, which 99% of the people I talk to say I've got X, Y, and Z conditions. It's about the limitations that those conditions put on you so that you're no longer able to work. Super important. What to do with the information? You want to keep a copy of it, of course. If you are using a Social Security disability representative, contact them and say, listen, I have notes, or I have a recording, or I have documentation from my independent medical exam. I'd like to have it added to my case file. How would you like me to send it to you? And so that they have it. And what the end result is, if your case goes to court, then you have your notes about the independent medical exam, and then the judge will be looking at the notes that have been submitted, and you can make sure that the exam was properly conducted and that what you have documented hopefully is consistent with what the judge's notes are, and so that it will maximize your chances of getting approved. So this is a critical step. Don't take it lightly. I'm in hopes that these 7 tips will help you maximize your chances of getting your Social Security disability benefits approved. Of course, if you like the work that you do, give us a thumbs up, like us, join us in the comments. We look forward to hearing your success story. This has been Brian Tarian. Make it a great day.